What we talked about last time was a lot of jargon about the kingdoms, the domains, the phylums. There was just like a lot going on there. So what I'd like you to catch on this one is a little bit more of the idea of what's going on in each of these domains and kingdoms. So you have a better understanding of the divisions. So kingdom vocabulary is our assignment today, and then we're going to fill in the kingdom reading and grid. So let's start with our general vocabulary. So here's your answers. So everything after a bold word is what goes into the blank that you see to the right. And so a prokaryote, there's two types of cells. We've got prokaryotes and eukaryotes. Prokaryotes do not have a nucleus. There's nothing visible inside. A eukaryote, like you and I, we have a nucleus and there's something visible inside. And what we mean by inside is referring to, like, if you put it under a microscope, a prokaryote, you don't really see much. On a eukaryote, we see visible organelles like chloroplasts or mitochondria or a nucleus, things like that. Next section, we have number of cells helps differentiate the type of organism. Unicellular organisms. Uni is, I believe, Latin for one. So it's a one-celled organisms. And the thing I want you to remember is that you cannot see it without any help. You must have help from something like a microscope or something like that. Because what we're going to do next week, it's imperative that you understand these descriptors. So, and then a multicellular organism, there's many cells. You can just see it with your naked eye. You don't need any microscopes or anything like that. Another way that kingdoms and domains are separated is by reproduction. Asexual reproduction means only one parent is needed, so usually it's like bacteria clone themselves, and that's how they get offspring. Sexual reproduction, two parents are needed. And just an FYI, that applies to plants as well as many animals. Next way to classify is nutrition. How do they get their food? An autotrophic organism makes its own food via photosynthesis. So usually these are going to be green. I do want you to add that in there. Usually green, not always, but almost always. A heterotrophic organism is someone who cannot make its own food. So that's like you and I. We don't make our own food. We have to eat food. So cannot make its own food goes right here on your assignment. And there's two types of heterotrophs. We have ingestion and absorption. Ingestion is like what you and I have. We digest food inside the body. So that goes here. And absorption, it digests food outside of its body. So it's just next to whatever it is that it's eating, and it can absorb the food and pull it into itself. The next one, we have environment. Extreme environments. These are not normal. They're usually very high acidity. The temperature is really high, or there's a lot of salt, and most cells die in these environments, but this kind does not. So environment, copy over what I have highlighted, and then common environment is like normal. And normal can be everything from a desert to a glacier. It just depends on which extreme and which condition. Okay, so then once you have all of that written in, what we're going to look at is a reading called the Kingdom Reading and Grid. And as you do the reading, I would like you to fill in this chart. There it is. And on this reading, what you see is kind of a copy of what we see on our assignment for now. What we're looking at is the type of cells, number of cells, nutrition, reproduction, environment, an example, and number of cells. So we're going to fill in this whole thing using what we see here. So for a quick example, here's our domains: archaea, bacteria, eukarya. And underneath archaea, we have archaebacteria. And look at that. We've got kingdom, archaebacteria. So we're going to read about archaebacteria. Goes to right there. And while we read that, we will have enough information to fill in this entire grid on that. Once we've done that, bacteria, domain bacteria, kingdom eubacteria, because there's two kingdoms of bacteria, fill that in. So there's those 2 paragraphs on bacteria. Then eukarya, this is where we have the most fun. There's more interesting species here. We've got kingdom Protista. So read about Protista. That starts there and ends there. Then kingdom fungi, kingdom plantae, and kingdom animalia. So go ahead and fill all of those in using this. And then there's 3 practice multiple choice questions at the end to get you ready for the test. And that'll be it. Let me know if you are having trouble, and I would be happy to help you out.